Alrighty guys, so in today's video, we are going to be getting into exactly how to land your first growth operating client that makes you at least $10,000 per month from one single client. So I've been getting a ton of different questions on this topic, and so I'm going to break everything down from the exact creators that you should be targeting, how to make sure that your messages are actually getting to them, they're getting read, the exact script that you need to be using. And it's an absolutely beautiful day. So I just finished my run, having a little bit of coffee, and I'm gonna drop some absolute sauce for you guys. So let's get into it. And just so that you guys know that I actually know what I'm talking about, I've signed dozens and dozens of creators with this exact strategy. I still use this strategy to this day, so you know it's actually up to date. We're signing dozens of clients. I actually signed 2 creators with this exact strategy last week and handed it off to some of my mentees. But this exact strategy has helped me close people like Cole Christopherson, an SMMA coach, where we ended up doing about 18K in a single week together. Ended that month right around 70K. Which was amazing. I've also worked with Connor Sinnen, helped him scale his fitness coaching. He's got about 1.8 million followers across all platforms. These are some of the results that we got. Also worked with Jake Ryan. He's all over the internet right now and got an awesome testimonial from him. Ended up this month doing about 30K on this payment processor, another 10K on another. Also work with Jacques. He's in high ticket sales as well. And Cam, who is a reseller. So this strategy works and it's helped me get a ton of clients. So let's dive into it. I've got a ton of different sauce for you guys here. And you need to realize that your outreach isn't working for 3 reasons in particular. 1, either your outreach message just isn't good enough. 2 is you're outreaching to the same prospects as everyone else on the exact same channels or platforms. And 3, you're reaching out simply just to the wrong creators. And I can guarantee that this is why your outreach isn't working, because I see it time and time again. And quite frankly, I don't blame you, because there's no gurus showing you what's actually working. And that's simply because if it looked simple, it would be way harder to sell you, right? And that's why they're gurus, of course. But newsflash, this isn't as simple as sending a message on Instagram. And there's a lot more that goes into actually landing a high quality creator that would be generating you, $5, $10, $15,000 per month. Therefore, to get a better response, you must focus on making a better outreach message, finding better channels to outreach them on, and simply prospecting to the right people to begin with, right? Now I'm going to break down how we're going to find them. So the most effective platforms to find creators that will print is definitely through Instagram and YouTube. And, I definitely would avoid creators who are only based on TikTok. TikTok is an amazing platform to get a ton of reach, get a ton of distribution, and really put your brand out there, for that said creator. But people are not on TikTok to buy info products and coaching. That they usually, go to YouTube when it comes to that. And so the most effective platform for actually nurturing an audience, nurturing your traffic, and actually converting people is people that are on YouTube. So if they have a YouTube channel, that is an absolute gold mine, and those are the people that you want to be going after. And the most effective platforms to actually outreach on are Instagram and email. Nobody talks about email. It absolutely works. Creators are definitely checking their emails, especially if they're good creators that are responsible and worth partnering up with. And their email inboxes are not absolutely flooded like on Instagram. And so you can actually go on YouTube, go into their main page, go into the description, and you can actually get creators' email addresses directly from the YouTube platform. You can only get about 10 to 15 per day, but this is an extremely effective method that no one's talking about, and email absolutely works. I still do most of my outreach through Instagram DMs, but these are by far the best platforms. And then there's still other ways to be getting creators as well, right? And getting in touch with them. So join these creators' free communities that already, they already have maybe either a school community or Discord. And if you can actually join and start engaging in that community and reaching out to that creator, or maybe if they're doing a free call in their community, nobody else is doing this. And so if you can actually infiltrate their community and get in touch with the creator that way, it works extremely, extremely well. And you can get really, really high quality creators like this. And people who already have a free community are basically just probably begging to monetize that community. And that's where you can come in and help, right? There's also, either maybe it might be their Telegram, their school, their Facebook group, their Discord, et cetera, et cetera. Or pay a little bit of money. right? Join their paid community. Spend the $50 a month, $100 a month. Maybe it's $300 a month, because you need to remember that these creators can be generating you an insane amount of money, right? So let's say you have to join 5 communities that you're each spending $100 to get into those. If one of those 5 ends up closing, you spent $500, but it was well worth the time and money you spent, right? So think of this as an actual business where sometimes you need to put a little bit of money in to get a lot of money out, right? And it's investments that are well worth it. So a lot of times you can really better understand what's lacking in their systems as well when you're joining their paid communities. Obviously, if it's a paid community, the creator is going to be a lot more active in it, and you can actually get in touch with them a lot more easily. And so come up with a list of like your dream clients. And if they have paid communities, I highly recommend joining them. Whether it's school, Discord, maybe it's a private Slack, whatever the case is. And then really break down what they're doing well, what they're doing wrong. And then really, show them like, hey, I help scale these paid communities, these high ticket communities, and really just point out like what needs to be improved, right? Like I said. So in terms of actually on these platforms and finding creators that are on here, I highly recommend, searching up key terms like, how to make 10K per month in XYZ, right? So in drop shipping or in SMMA or with an AI agency. And people that are putting videos out there like this are going to be your ideal client, right? Because they understand the content creation side of things. And if they don't understand the content creation side of things, it's going to be really hard to actually get them to start printing. Other SEO prompts are like the best business in 2024 or 2025, or the business that no one is talking about, how I made 6 figures last year. Add these creators to Notion CRM. So you should be tracking everyone that you're outreaching to, and you need to be staying on top of your follow-ups as well. So how do you identify who's a good creator and who's a bad creator? This is the exact template that I use. So if they have no following, there's no demand from their audience, right? There's zero product audience fit, right? They don't have a very specific niche. It's not like really a high demand thing that they're talking about, or they're lacking an offer people actually want. They're lacking any case studies, or they're in a bad niche, right? Now, a good creator is going to have at least 10 to 50,000 followers. They haven't made much money from their audience yet, right? They've probably made like less than $15,000, but there's clearly an opportunity to scale them further, right? You can identify a lot of different mistakes with what they're doing, right? Definitely start clicking all the links in people's bios, start funnel hacking them, and identify like what's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's how you can really provide a lot of value to these people once you start outreaching, which we're going to get into next, of course. From there, obviously, they have a product or they have a skill that's teachable. They have case studies and they're in a good niche, right? And that's how you can really, make sure that the people that you're reaching out to are good creators. So before we can start outreaching, we need to understand what are we actually offering. And a lot of people just completely miss the mark on this. So with that said, we are not offering funnel building, landing pages, VSLs, copywriting, emails, webinars, sales teams, offer structures, and market research, right? This is what goes into our service delivery, but this is not what our offer is, right? Our offer is a much deeper than that. And we're solving much deeper pain points than this. So what we are actually offering is the creator's time back, a solution to their current financial pain, accelerated growth and knowledge that you're giving them, your expertise to them, right? A transformation for their audience and years of future business opportunity. And that is what you need to realize is you're not just giving these guys a funnel or sales team, right? Those are commoditized offers. Anybody could do those things. And all growth operators are simply framing their offer like this when they just don't realize that this is a really bad offer. And if you can restructure your offer to these creators when you're outreaching to them as a solution to their pain points, which is exactly what this is right here on the right, that is how you're going to actually get them closed, right? Because everybody's telling them, yo, like I'll build you your funnel, I'll build you your landing page, like let me help you script a VSL. Like there's AI, there's ChatGPT, right? Anybody can do those things, right? It's extremely commoditized. And so you need to reposition the way that you're outreaching to these creators to begin with. And this is super important. So remember, your value proposition is your prospect, the content creator who's currently struggling And obviously they want to have an extremely successful offer where they're making 50, 100K per month. And you are the person bridging that gap, right? And actually getting them to that point. And that is what your offer is. So before we start outreaching, now we understand who to reach out to. We understand what we're offering. And the last thing before we can actually start reaching out is setting up your outreach methods. And this is super important. So the first thing that I need to say is you need to make sure that you look like a real person. And this is actually probably one of the most important parts, because I personally, even with, only 900 followers on Instagram, still get bombarded with cold DMs. And if you don't look like a real person, I'm never going to respond. And that is so if I'm someone with 900 followers and I'm still getting bombarded by cold DMs, imagine what the creator with 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers and what their DMs look like. So if you don't look like a real person, your profile isn't optimized, you're not going to get responses no matter how good your outreach method is. So make sure you have a bio, which is very clear and concise. It's not wordy. And it just clearly states your service, what you're offering, and what your expertise is, right? Other things that are really important is like clear profile picture with your face in it, right? So you can see mine face is very clear. You can tell that I'm like a normal looking guy. My bio is extremely clear and concise. It tells people exactly what I do and I specialize in. I scale info products. What else? Have content, right? You don't look like a bot. You look like a real person that's like cool, right? You need to remember that you're going to be actually partnering with these people. These people don't want to have a business partner. That's a complete loser. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, right? So look like, show maybe some of your hobbies, right? Show you traveling, right? Just show your face, like have a clear picture of your face. Because, your Instagram profile is basically the modern day resume, right? And people judge you right off the bat based on what your profile looks like. If you just look like some random kid where there's no pictures, right? Like it's not even clear like what you do, how you can help, then people aren't gonna be receptive to that. Here's an example of, kind of what your bio can look like. Obviously you can replicate mine. Other things that you can add are story highlights and your verification, which I definitely recommend a verification. It's not required. It's about $15 a month, but this instantly gives you a lot more authority. And then story highlights, right? I have some client wins. I have some testimonials from my clients, and I'm also verified. And so this is how you can actually optimize your profile. And then from there, same thing with email, right? Like if you're going to be sending emails to creators, have a legit email address. Buy the domain of your agency, right? Mine is ScaleWise Media. I went and bought ScaleWise Media. It was like $10. I made a Google Workspace out of it, made an email. My email's nice and clean. And it's like, hey, you're not working with like louiscorbier@gmail.com. It's like, I have an actual business. I'm a business owner. We can help you scale. Like, let's talk. And so by buying the domain for the name of your agency, setting up with the Google Workspace, you just look so much more legit. And it just instantly gives you way more authority when people are clicking on the email that you sent to them, right? And so people don't think about these things and they just start spamming outreach, and that, I'm sorry, it's just never going to work no matter what you say. If it's coming from a dog shit profile or dog shit email address, you're not going to get responses. Now, the good stuff, the part that you guys have all been waiting for. What is the fundamentals of actually writing a good outreach message, right? So getting a good response from your outreach is very similar to getting good response from an ad, where it all comes down to the fundamentals of copywriting. First, you want to catch their attention in the hook. Then you pique their interest to reel them in simply by leveraging their desires and understanding their pain points. And right, that's what we discussed, that's how you're positioning your offer, is literally just to be a solution to their desires and their pain points. And then you can book them in on a call from there. So first you want to get their attention, right? The first opening message, you want to be very direct with your offer and add social proof. I'm going to get into what that actual message looks like next. From there, you want to actually get them interested, right, in your offer, and actually interested in booking a call so that you can actually talk to them and close them from there. So pique their interest by leveraging your mechanism. From there, on the third message, you want to really talk to their desires by putting the message in their best interest to book a call, right? So make it seem in their best interest to actually book a call with you, not in your best interest. It's like, it's if they don't book a call, they're going to be missing out on a lot of money essentially, right? So it's in their best interest to book a call. And from there, you make a CTA and get them on that call and pitch that call. So what do those actual messages look like And before we get into this, I want to be extremely clear that there is no magical outreach message. No matter what anybody tells you online, no matter what guru tells you, there's no like magic set of words that you can say to get someone interested, right? It's all gonna be, you need to like speak the language of the creator. You need to speak to them personally. You need to be authentic when you're sending these messages. And so these are examples of what have worked for me in the past, but it's not some like copy paste, like, hey, this is just like the magic script, right? There is no magic script. You need to personalize the message, be authentic, and really make it seem like you're talking specifically to that creator and not just some generalized message that's copy paste to everyone. So some good examples of this are, hey, name of the creator, if I were to help you add an additional $83,000 per month to your info product over the next 120 days on autopilot, would you be interested in hearing more? Next, you want to leverage your case studies. So even if it wasn't a case study from growth operating, maybe it was from a setting role or a closing role. Also, if you partner with us and you want a client from us, you can leverage our own case studies, but you essentially say, we recently added, $40,000 per month for Cole within 90 days of working with him. From there, they're obviously going to be interested, right? Who wouldn't want to be making $83,000 per month? And in the next message, you say, perfect. I have some free time tomorrow at X time. Does that work for a quick demo call to discuss in further detail the system we've been using that's allowed our clients to add X $1,000 per month, right? X amount of money per month to their business. This is a really direct way and can definitely generate a ton of interest. I also really, 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 really love the Loom approach, where you give the person a little compliment, right? Yo, what's good, name? Loving the recent content. By the way, if someone got X result in X time frame, would you be opposed to me sending you a free XYZ lead magnet on how they do it as well? The lead magnet is the Loom, where then you're going to break down what they're doing well, what they're doing poorly, some of your own results, and kind of the systems and funnels that you would implement for them. That's how I structure my Looms. And this works extremely well, right? Who wouldn't want a free breakdown video of how they can make more money and what should be improved in their systems? And that's really what the lead magnet is. And it's basically a free audit of their business. Another alternative, just to try to get them to respond and engage in a genuine conversation first. So sometimes it's not always best to lead with a pitch. Lead with just trying to engage in a reasonable conversation with them, where you're just showing genuine interest or curiosity in, some of their content. Maybe you have a genuine question that you want to ask them, and this can lead into more of a sales conversation. So just focusing on just getting them to respond first. So sometimes I say something like, yo, what's good, first name? And then ask a specific question about their content, their platform. So maybe they have a community already or a free community, ask a question about it, or ask something about their journey, right? Hey, I saw that you used to be broke 3 years ago. Like, I'm in the same situation. Could you help me out? Or come up and be creative, right? Be genuine and authentic, like I said. Or you can also say something like, yo, something a little bit more direct and just get them to respond and engage. So you can be like, yo, you still ain't obvious missed opportunities. So like, you still ain't coaching, or you still ain't got a low ticket community, or you still ain't got a paid community, or you still ain't got a funnel, or you still ain't got a VSL, right? Come up and dissect what's missing with their current systems and point that out directly. And then you can say, just didn't find any evidence of XYZ or evidence of this offer or something of that nature. And this works extremely well because it's direct and it makes them feel like an idiot a little bit for not having that thing. And that works really, really well. So with that being said, if you want to implement our copy and paste systems so that you can scale your own growth operating business, I've just reopened our partnership program, where we'll guarantee you a creator deal that generates you at least $10,000 per month in the next 90 days or less, without having to send a bunch of cold DMs to land your creator. We'll even close the creator for you. And so if you're interested in getting help in scaling a growth operating business and landing your first creator, click the first link in the description below if you're interested. Also, make sure you subscribe below, where I'm going to be dropping a bunch more sauce about growth operating and all the systems I implement for my clients. And I'll be sure to catch you guys on the next one. Let's get it.